Over the past few months, everybody's been doing their top 10 favourite video games of all time. And a few months ago, I was shouted out by Joe Gogo to do mine. But I've decided to do things a little bit differently. If you love everything in the world of gaming, from modern to retro, and have a particular soft spot for handheld gaming, then you are in the right place, because here on the Chronik Spartan show, we love everything about the world of gaming, and we especially love handheld and portable gaming too. If that sounds like your kind of thing, then hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on future content. Right, so here we are, my top 10 favorite video games of all time. I mean, like, how do you pick this list? I thought I'd narrow it down initially to make it a little bit easier and to suit with the style of the channel, so we're going with handheld and portable gaming to start with. But even then, there's so many amazing games, considering I started playing video games back when the Game Boy was a thing, when it was actually a sold item as opposed to a retro item. I've been playing handheld gaming for that long, so that means my collection, my library of games to pick from is so huge, with so many amazing gaming experiences. How do you even begin? Anyway, somehow I've managed to narrow it down to 10 games. Now, I'm not going through this top 10 in terms of an order in terms of which ones I like the best, so it doesn't go like 10 is the worst. How can you have a worst in a top 10? But it's not like 10 is my least favorite of the 10 and number 1 is my favorite of all time. It's too difficult to do that. I tried to do it, but it's absolutely impossible for me to, at least 6 or 7 of the games out of all of them could be number 1 at any point in time. So instead, I've decided to go through it generation wise. So we'll start with the oldest games and we'll end with the most recent games. So kicking things off, number 10, we have Tetris on the original Game Boy. What's to be said about Tetris? This game is the reason the Game Boy was so successful. The packing game with the Game Boy, and a game that I don't think I've ever met anybody that doesn't like Tetris. It's so addictive, it's so simple, and it's perfect for handheld game, and it perfectly captures the pick up and go mindset, and that type of game that just constantly has a reward loop that keeps you wanting to play over and over and over, smashing your high scores and just trying to get an extra line here or there. Tetris is the first game I ever got with my Game Boy, and out of all the games I've got, I think that's the one I played the most. Certainly the one that was in the Game Boy the most, because I know my mum loved playing it, and even recently I loaded up the Game Boy, gave it to my sister, and she was playing it for ages, passed it on to her husband, and before we knew it, everybody was wanting to have a go of the Game Boy, like, what, 30 years later, to have a go of Tetris. That's how good this game is, and this is one of my favourite handheld video games of all time. Next up, we've got Zelda Link's Awakening. Now, this is pretty new to me in my world of gaming. Okay, this is an old school game, and most of you will already have known this for years and played it years ago when you were kids. This is a game I never got around to playing, and I only started playing it recently, last year more specifically, when I did a 30-day Game Boy challenge. And the thing that blew me away about this game is just how relevant and amazing it still is today. This isn't a game that had nostalgia for me. This is a game that, like I said, I first started playing in 2021. And even then, it hooked me and gripped me so much. The world of wonder, the intrigue in trying to explore and figure things still blows my mind. I mean, I've said to so many people, I don't understand how kids back in the 80s played this game and figured it out. How they found those secrets, how they found the way to progress through the game and complete it. I'm not gonna lie, I've needed help with this game, partly because I don't have as much free time as I did as a kid. Maybe I would have been able to figure out all those things as a kid, I don't know, but I've needed help with this game because it is tricky. But one thing is for certain, it's so addictive, it's so charming, and it is a full gaming experience in the palm of your hand. And this is one of my favourite, absolutely amazing. Now, whereas Zelda might not have the nostalgia vibes for me, this next one is full of nostalgia for me. And number 8 on the list is Super Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy. And the reason this has so much nostalgia for me is because I still remember the day when I had my Game Boy for a couple of years, and I must have had like maybe 2 or 3 games for it max. And I remember going to this new shop opening in Greece with my granddad. And as we looked about, it was a bit of a everything kind of store. They had bits and bobs, they had home items, they had video games and everything. Naturally, I gravitated towards the video games, and I was checking out the Game Boy games, and I saw Super Mario Land 2. Now, I'd played the original Super Mario, but I'd never played Super Mario Land 2, and I said to my granddad, check this out, this looks awesome, I'd love to get this. And my granddad, because we lived in a small village at the time, I think he wanted to support the shop, he just said, yeah, let's get it. Like, these games back in the day, I mean, what were they, like 40 quid? Even then, like, they were so expensive. And my granddad just decided, yeah, let's get it. I couldn't believe it. I think that's the first time ever that I ever got a video game bought for me just like that. So anyway, I took this home, plugged it in, and for absolute months, me and my mates were addicted to this game. As far as I can remember, I think this is the first full video game I ever completed, and it genuinely had the full Super Mario feel and vibes with amazing graphics on that tiny Game Boy screen. To this day, the music, the gameplay, the graphics just spark so much nostalgia for me, and Super Mario Land 2 is one of my favourite video games of all time, let alone a handheld game. Next up is another massively nostalgic game for me, and that is Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. Now I remember this one because I got it around about the same time that I got Super Mario Land 2. I can't remember which one I got first, but this one, we were in the shops in Athens, it was leading up to Christmas, and I remember my mum and dad were saying to me, what would you like for Christmas? And I saw this game and I didn't know anything about it. I knew Donkey Kong the arcade game, but I saw Mario on it as well, and something really drew me to it, so I asked for it. Anyway, that Christmas, I wasn't sure if I was going to get it, but it was a nice surprise and I did. And this game is full of surprises because the first level, the opening level, plays just like classic Donkey Kong. You're playing through the girders, you're trying to save the princess. But after you've done that, it transitions into the most amazing, wonderful puzzle platforming game. And I just got absolutely addicted to this. Like I said before, Super Mario Land 2 was one of the first games I completed ever in my gaming history. And this was another one as well. Now this one was a little bit different because around about 3/4 of the way through the game, I got to a level that was really, really tricky and I couldn't figure it out. I'd been trying it for weeks. And I said to my mum and dad, can I just please call the Nintendo helpline? Now bearing in mind we lived in Greece at the time and this was an international call. I can't remember if it was to the US or the UK. But anyway, they somehow said yeah. I don't know if they didn't realize it was international or not. But anyway, I called up, it was only a few minutes to call, and the guy basically said to me, you gotta do this flip here, do this there, and you've done it. I did it and it worked. And I was like, wow, that was so easy. And it was just so cool at the time, like, you know, before the internet, being able to call somebody up and get that help. It was the only time I ever did it, and it's probably the only time my parents ever would have let me have done it. But this, again, is another one of my favorite handheld video games of all time. Moving on through the generations, and we've got Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance. Now this, again, is a game that I only played recently, a couple of years ago in fact, and this was when I got an amazing Game Boy bundle for Christmas, and that kind of kick-started my whole retro game collecting passion. I'd seen this awesome Game Boy bundle on eBay, and it was about £60 at the time. It came with a Game Boy Color, a Game Boy Advance, a Game Boy Advance SP, a load of games, a load of accessories, all for 60 quid. I mean, if you could find that these days, that is such a killer deal. But back then, I opened it up, and opening that up on Christmas was so amazing. And one of the games that was in that bundle was Advance Wars, and this absolutely hooked me. I always have loved my kind of tactical management games, and I'd heard about Advance Wars in the past. My cousin used to really like it, but I thought it's like a handheld game. I'd never known of those kind of tactical simulation strategy games on any handheld being any good. I didn't really know about it. I was used to playing those games on the PC, and I thought, how can anything like that work on a handheld game without a mouse and a keyboard? Needless to say, this absolutely smashes it, and it does it in the most perfect way. Again, it focuses on the handheld concept, the portable concept, and makes this such an amazing pick up and play game. This hooked me for ages, and the beauty in this is the simplicity. It's a very deep game, it's great tactically, but somehow it manages to keep it simple. I think it's in the controls and the button layout. Whatever it is, this game is absolutely stunning, and this is one of my favorite video games of all time, again on any system, let alone handhelds. Carrying on with Nintendo, but jumping up through the generations, we've got Sonic Generations, and this is a game, another one that's quite new to me actually, and I played Sonic Generations on the live stream on the Game Night Live about 2-3 months ago, and I really enjoyed that game. I loved how it transitioned from 2D to 3D, and both playstyles just felt so wonderful. Sonic games are a bit hit and miss, especially when you hit the 3D world, but this is absolutely amazing. And so yeah, we played it on the live stream on my PC, and I thought, let's try it out on the handheld, let's try it out on the 3DS, and this is absolutely amazing. In fact, I like this even better than I did when I originally played it on the PC, because again, Sonic Generations is just perfect for pick up and play, that portable style of gaming, and it keeps everything great about this game. Sometimes you lose things in translation to handheld and portable gaming, but Sonic Generations is just as wonderful to play. Like I said, the 2D to the 3D transition is absolutely stunning, and both video game styles are so enjoyable to play. Like I said, Sonic games can be hit or miss, but this is definitely a hit. Coming in at number 4, and there's a lot of games that could have fit in this category, but I had to pick one, and that is Pokemon Diamond. Pokemon games are some of my favorite video games of all time, and they are just a perfect game to play on your handheld or portable gaming system. As a matter of fact, up until recently, they could only be played on your portable or handheld gaming system. And this was a difficult pick for me because there's so many different generations of Pokemon that I love for different reasons. I love the red and blue generation because they were the first ones, and I still remember that hunt trying to get my first copy of one because they were sold out in the UK at the time. You've got Silver and Gold, which took that formula and just took it to a new level. But there's something special about Pokemon Diamond for me, and that is that this is the game that brought me back into Pokemon. It'd been quite a few years, probably close to a decade, of never having played a Pokemon game since the original ones. And I just had this yearning, this want to play Pokemon again. I didn't really know at the time anybody who played Pokemon. I'd finished university, I'd moved on, I'd gotten my first job, and I was an adult, and I thought, is it really still a game for kids, or am I weird for wanting to play Pokemon still? Needless to say, I started speaking to one of my mates at work, and he loved Pokemon. And I suddenly started to realize, what am I waiting for? If I want to play this game again, I'll just play it. And I think that was the moment where it clicked for me that video games weren't just something that I enjoyed as a kid. Video games were a passion for me for my whole life, and they would continue to be so. And me and my mate decided, because Pokemon Diamond and Pearl had just come out, and we decided, let's get the new Pokemon games. He got Pearl, I got Diamond, and I was absolutely blown away. This game took me right back to the nostalgia of those original games, but it brought in so many interesting new concepts, including, but not limited to, the color palette and the new style of graphics. This has to be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, looking Pokemon games of all time. There was just so much extra added to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl over the original format, and that original format was solid, it was brilliant, so anything extra was just a bonus. Fast forward a decade and we've got the remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and I am absolutely loving those games on the Nintendo Switch. But I gotta bring it back to the OG, one of my favorite video games of all time, Pokemon Diamond. Now, the Nintendo's been getting a load of love in this list, but it's time to jump over to Sony now with the PSP and Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Anybody who knows me, anybody who watches this channel knows I absolutely love stealth and spy games. And one of my favorite games in the world of the stealth and spy genre was Siphon Filter. So when I heard Siphon Filter was coming to the PSP, I was absolutely blown away. I was so excited. And this game lives up to the hype. As a matter of fact, it smashed the hype for me at the time. This game is quite potentially the best Siphon Filter game ever made. And I absolutely love the original Siphon Filter games, but there's something about this and what it brings to the PSP, and it brought Siphon Filter to a brand new age of gaming. The graphics, the mission structure, the story, everything in this game is absolutely nailed, and this is a shining star of the PlayStation Portable. If you want to see what the PlayStation Portable is capable of, playing this game will do that. And this was my first full experience of stealth and spy gaming on a handheld device, which is why Siphon Filter Dark Mirror is one of my favorite video games of all time. Carrying on with the Sony, and you know we love PS Vita over here, and one of my favorite, most addictive PS Vita games is Everybody's Golf. Now, this is just a golf game, but there's something so charming about this, something so perfect about the way it plays on the PS Vita. It's a game I come back to every single year. I'm quite a seasonal gamer, and golf games for me are perfect to play during the summer months. And there's no better golf game for me than Everybody's Golf on the PS Vita. It captures everything I love about golf games. It's got the great gameplay, it's got the challenge, and it's got the gorgeous environments. Golf games for me are a bit of escapism, exploring those wonderful courses, the environments, the beautiful landscapes, and Everybody's Golf just sprinkles in a wonderful amount of charm and fun to that whole concept. Now, you might think, okay, this is just a golf game, it's essentially just a sports game, but trust me, this is one of the most addictive and one of the best gaming experiences you can have on a portable and handheld device, and it fits perfectly into the whole ethos of that pick up and play style. And now finally, number one. Now, okay, I said I wasn't going to do this in any kind of form of preference, but this is a high contender for number one anyway. And one of the reasons why I decided to go for handheld gaming as opposed to just generic gaming overall is because everybody knows my favorite game, number one, was going to be Metal Gear Solid. I go on about that game so much, I'm probably boring you guys now. So I thought I'd do things a bit differently and focus on handheld, because then that would give me an opportunity to think of something other than Metal Gear Solid. And what did we end up with? On the PS Vita, the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. I couldn't resist, guys. I mean, what can I say? It's not Metal Gear Solid 1 at least, give me that. But Metal Gear Solid HD collection on the PS Vita is absolute perfection for me. I love everything about Metal Gear Solid games. Metal Gear Solid 1 is my favorite, but a very, very close second is Metal Gear Solid 2, followed by Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, I've played Metal Gear Solid 1 to death. I've played it on almost every single console, every single setup I can imagine. But Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3 are only ever games I'd played on the PS2. So when I got my opportunity to play these games on the go on the PS Vita, I was absolutely psyched, and it did not disappoint. I would go so far as to say that I enjoyed my experience of Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PS Vita way more than I did originally when I played it on the PS2. Something about being able to pick it up and play it whenever I wanted, anywhere I wanted, and the look of those graphics on that gorgeous screen. This for me is gaming heaven. This for me is gaming perfection. And this is why I love handheld gaming so much, because handheld gaming has evolved from those amazing, awesome, bite-sized experience of games like Tetris that we saw in the game, all the way to games like the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. And that's why this is one of my favorite video games of all time. Now, this list is just my list. These are my preferred games from the games I've played and the games in my collection. Now, yeah, there's going to be hundreds and thousands of games that could fit into this list, but I wanted to keep to the games that I've played and are in my collection. Also, like everybody else says, this list could easily change on any given day, and this is the list I've chosen on this day in particular. But one thing I can guarantee is every single game in this list is absolutely amazing, and if you've not played them, I recommend that you do. Now, the traditional thing to do as well is to pass this on to 5 other YouTubers, so let's do that. First off, from the Retro Refresh crew, Retro Gamer Boy, let's see what your top 10 video games of all time are. And let's see if they're all Mega Drive games or not. Next up, an awesome new YouTube channel that a lot of you probably haven't heard of yet, and that is Pratt on Film. Ash, Lee, I want to see what your top 10 video games of all time are. Moving on to another awesome YouTube channel, and that is Ray R Reviewing. Now, Ray, I know you might want to do this on your second channel, and that's absolutely fine, but I want to know, what are your top 10 video games of all time? Next up, the nicest guy in the world of YouTube, Russ Lyman. Let us know, what are your top 10 video games of all time? And finally, RGT85. Let us know, what are your top 10 video games of all time? And again, if you want to do this on your new second channel, that's absolutely fine, but I want to know, what are your top 10 video games of all time? Now, if you enjoyed this episode and content like this, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Once again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.